The next award is going to be presented by Abby Randall, Vice President. It's fitting as she is an architect and knows all things architectural and restoration. I'd also like to ask Sander Kaplan to come up. They're both co-chairs of the Architecture Committee and the Architecture Award. So I'll let them speak to this.
Good evening. As Rob mentioned, I'm Abby, and I co-chair with Sander. We're very fortunate to have the Avery Coonley estate designed by Lloyd Wright here in Riverside. Because it's so close, sometimes we forget how important it is. But to give you an idea, the Avery Coonley house is one of only 3 multi-building prairie residences designed by Wright, and it is the largest privately owned Wright residence to be recognized as a National Historic Landmark. Similar in significance to the Roby House, the Coonley House represents the maturation of Wright's prairie style, typified by wide overhanging eaves, bands of art glass casement windows, free-flowing interior spaces, and the blending of site and structure. The home was built from 1908 to 1912 with an unlimited budget for Avery and Queenie Coonley, both industrial heirs. It's Wright's first example of zoned planning, in which he divided the estate into a living area, a bedroom wing, and servants areas. Each zone now defines 4 separate residences rather than one 9,000 square foot estate as it was originally built. As some of you know, in 2015, the bedroom wing, which was also known as the south wing of the estate, was in desperate need of repair. Stucco was buckling, windows were rotting, and the roof was leaking buckets of water. John and Stephanus, if you would like to join me, I would like to introduce John Fernita and Stephanus Reeve, who have recently purchased and repaired the south wing of the Avery Coonley estate. We're equally as fortunate to find such caring owners as John and Stephanus. John has offered tonight to give you a glimpse of the amazing restoration that he and Stephanus have endeavored in their short time living in Riverside. Please help me welcome them with a round of applause.
Would you make it work and I'll... So Stephanus and I bought this this section of the house in May of 2015, and 18 months ago, and it looks pretty nice from a distance. when you get close, you will see, hopefully this works, one of the first things you'll see is how badly the garage deteriorated. After 5+ years of neglect, nobody living there, nobody cleaning out the gutters, nothing but water was coming into the house. And specifically the garage, it was just crumbling because there was no drainage for it. And as you can see by the inside, it was very rotted. Now we tried to get a bunch of people. I had no less than 12 contractors come out to try to repair this, and everybody wanted to knock it down. Just knock it down and start over, and obviously we didn't want to do that. So we managed to find some local people that were willing to help repair the front. This is now what it looks like on the interior, and this is what well, I have to add that prior to actually getting possession of the house, the previous owner allowed us to work on it before owning it. So a good 6 months to 8 months before owning it, we started working on it. And one of the things was, because the garage was heated, we had to seal it up so that none of the pipes would break over the winter. So Dean Eastman, who owns the other side of the Coonley house, was intricate in this, helped us. We spent the day just fixing and putting that piece of plywood there, but here's how it looks now. This is the courtyard. There's, you can see plywood in the left corner there where vandals, I guess it was earlier that summer, or later that summer, I'm sorry, came in and broke through some of the windows and were partying in the basement. Also, there's the roof that's over the doorway that was falling apart. And some strange, Sander knows about this, windows that were trying to be put in right dead center there that were not correct. So we changed it back to that. Here's another look of that same collapsing stucco, and now it looks like this. The wood trim has yet to be, we're still in the process of getting it done. It got too cold, so we're waiting until the spring to put the wood trim back. Here again is another close-up of what it looked like and what it looks like now. This is the porte-cochere, the part that it's kind of like a carport. You can go underneath the bridge of the house to get to the courtyard. The ceiling of that was nothing but plywood, and it was just sagging and falling down, so we decided to try to just repair it. But of course, like anything else, when you try to repair something, it's like pulling a loose thread on your sweater, and the next thing you know, the whole thing starts unraveling. And what we found were 3 layers of ceiling that were just kept being put on top of that. So we removed all that to find nothing but rot. And so we took all that apart and had it reframed, put insulation there, and then cement board and painted it. So that's how that looks. That's just the pergola. It's not original to the house, but it's there nonetheless. And it was just falling apart, rotting, needed paint, and there it is restored. This was a very sore spot in my in our purchase. 36 windows of this house belong to the Frank Lloyd Wright Conservancy. The previous owner sold them to them and got a tax write-off of $500,000. So they own these windows, but they're in serious disrepair. Nobody went there to look at them for a good 5 or 6 years. As you can see how badly rotted they are. Some of the panes were actually missing. They just put plastic over it. They were not willing to help restore them. So, whoops, went a little too fast. But anyway, that's how it looks now. We had the colorsmith here in town help to put those together. This is that. Okay, not too far away. So that's how it looks now, with wood trim being replaced. The tile frieze is in the same condition it was in, but those are the repair windows. Here again, mostly paint falling apart and some rotted wood. And there it is all scraped off. And there it is repainted. We did repair the little woodpecker hole in there.
John, just mention the end top.
Oh, well, as you can see, there's plastic at the very top there. That's a tarp. We bought 50 by 100 foot tarps, about 5 of them. This was prior to actually getting possession of the house, and took a day tarping each plane or section of the roof that was leaking very badly. So that was up there for a good, probably 9 months before we started able to get repair work done on the roof. This is the west elevation of the house where the stucco was very badly falling apart, and I understand, Everdeen, wouldn't your house look like this too? With the squares where it was, looked just like this. And of course, taking it off, all the new stucco, of course, more rotted wood, and then we had it repaired, and now it looks like that. None of this has been painted yet. We got done, it was finished in late September, so we're waiting until this spring to paint. Anybody who wants to come over and help. This one I want to talk a little about. This is an annex off the house. It was originally called the dressing room. And attached to that, you'll see there's plants growing from it. So there's a planter up there. It's kind of like a bathtub. It's about 4 by 8 feet in a rectangle, and probably about 8 inches deep. This is what it looked like when we bought it. There was a window put in there that the kids broke through again to get into the house to party in the basement, and there were weeds growing up on top of the planter wood. So upon taking it apart to see what was going on, what we found was, of course, more rot. The copper was taken off of there, and under that was much, much more rot. And we've had the carpenter repair that, and then our roofer went ahead and added the copper back, so now it can hold water and dirt, and hopefully somebody from the Olmsted study can suggest what kind of plants we can put in. that's what it looks like now. Again, that's the original. Oops. So what we did was we closed up the window, and of course, since there was all rot on top, it goes to say that there was rot underneath as well. So the whole panel on the side was falling apart, so we had to have that reinforced, and then the wire mesh so that the stucco could get put back on it, and that's what it looks like now. Here are just different elevations of the house that was in very serious need of attention to the stucco. There it is repaired. This is the entryway to the doorway. The concrete was really bad. It was really, I don't know why we bought this house.
You needed a project.
Needed a project.
When do you like it?
Here's some of the interior. The amount of water damage was mostly on the exterior walls because the gutters were never cleaned and they were backing up, so it was just coming down the walls. I had many sleepless nights when it was raining because you couldn't even put a bucket under it because it was actually coming down the wall. So I just would stick plastic in there, open up the windows and let the water run back out the windows. But that's what it looks like now. It has yet to be painted, but the walls have been repaired. But to give you an idea how bad they were, you could literally just draw your name on them because when they were wet, it would just peel right off. Here's a corner. The radiator covers were even made out of plaster. And that's what it looked like, and here's what it looks like now. Again, here's the ceiling and the wall just crumbling, and that's what it looks like now. This was an intersection between a bunch of the hallways where it was compromised. We kind of thought it might have been some structural damage up there, but when we took it apart, we realized it was just the wood lath and the plaster coming down. So that got repaired. None of the wood trim has been replaced yet. We're still working on that. Here's a room that was really bad. As you can see, again, the stucco coming down. Just it was really it makes you want to cry when you see how badly this house was neglected. But in the course of trying to repair that, what did we find? More rotted wood. And of course, you can't put stucco on rotted wood. You need something to do it. So we had carpenters come in again, fix that, and now we can actually have a wall we can paint. This is the very front of the house. The ceiling, this is what it looked like when we bought it, the ceiling falling down. The carpeting was all full of mold from the amount of water coming in. Some of it was literally just falling and crashing everywhere and making a mess. We're still in the process of dealing with that. We took away everything that's loose, and there's new stuff up there now. It just needs to be painted. These last series of slopes are probably the one restoration project that most of our neighbors, especially the ones that live across the street from us, can appreciate. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to back up. Before we get to that, none of that interior could have been done without the roof being repaired. We were lucky enough that there were only about 4 places where there were holes like this in the roof, so there wasn't too much to do there. But the biggest problem was not only just the tile, but the gutters. It's a very odd gutter system. Those copper gutters right there are about 1.5 feet wide. And you can't just go to Home Depot and buy them. They have to be made. But they were just patched together. Wherever there was a crack or broken, and someone just threw tar on there, it was in horrible shape. But upon removing the copper gutters, what's holding them up are these V-shaped wooden troughs. And those, again, are custom made, nothing you can buy. So this was the hardest thing to do, is to find carpenters who were willing and excited enough to want to take on this project, where they actually made these V-shaped boards that are held together by these metal brackets. These brackets were so bad, I believe they were iron, and they're so badly corroded and rusted. Here's an example. The left one is the actual brackets that were up there. The middle picture is what they're supposed to look like. And then the right one is what I had a blacksmith make so that we could put the troughs back up so that the gutters could be back in. Some of those were actually extended much longer so that we go further up the house to get more support. So here it is with the new wooden troughs and the new, as you can see here, this one isn't working, here it is. Right there, that's much more extended than the originals, so that it goes further up to get more support to the troughs. And then, of course, the gutter, this copper was bent and then soldered there on site. But as I was saying earlier, the part that was probably appreciated most by the neighborhood was the front steps. Very, very badly deteriorated. Now there's an urn on the left there that the ring of it is laying right on the side. That's supposed to be on top of this. I guess Sandra told me that kids did this, came by and vandalized the house and flipped it over. It's probably been sitting there, you would know, 10 years at least. And as you can see, the concrete was in very, very bad shape, just completely rotting and water damage. So what happened was we got 4 guys to pry that ring out of the ground, put it back on top of the urn, and then we chipped away the rest of the concrete, put reinforcing concrete screws into there to give it something to hold on to, and then the finished product is that. And that's what we did in 18 months.
Amazing.
Really, all I have to say is holy buckets. It's unbelievable the amount of work that they completed in 18 months, and it's such a testament to how much you guys cared about the property. If you'd like to come up, we would like to present you a restoration award.
Perfect.
Society for presenting us this award by recognizing our efforts to restore the Coonley house. And I'd like to thank our friends and our family and our new neighbors for their wisdom and their help and patience in the last 18 months while we've been doing this. Thank you.